Today we're doing lesson 4.18, module 4, lesson 18, and your learning goal is the same as yesterday, sort of. Just like yesterday, we are multiplying decimals, except today we're going to use a new strategy. We're not going to use the model anymore. Yesterday we did models in fraction form. Today we're not going to do the model anymore. We're going to still do fraction form, and we're going to think about unit form as well. Okay? So the new thing today is we're going to multiply decimals, not just using fraction form, but unit form as well. We have 3 2/10 times 2 1/10. Write that down. 3.2 times 2.1. Now, before we even solve it using any method at all, let's estimate. 3.2 is pretty close to what whole number? 3. And 2.1 is pretty close to what whole number? Huh? To what? 2. Good. So 3 times 2 is? 6. So our answer of 3.2 times 2.1 should be pretty close to what? 6. If it's like 600, are we in the right ballpark? No. If it's like 6/10, are we in the right ballpark? No, we want our answer to be pretty close to 6. Okay, now that we have our estimate out of the way, let's do what we did yesterday first. Fraction form. Go ahead and write fraction form in your notebook. 3.2, how do I convert that to a fraction? That's 3 and what? 2/10. And then I have 2.1. How do I write that as a fraction? 2 1/10. Now, if I want to change those to improper fractions so that I can multiply, how do I do that? 3 wholes is how many tenths? 30 tenths. And then plus 2 is 32 tenths. And then, and then the same thing over here. 2 wholes is how many tenths? 20 plus 1 is 21 tenths. So over here in fraction form, I have 32 times 21 over 10 times 10. Yes? Okay. Let's do 32 times 21. Now, I can't do that in my head, but can I write that vertically? Yeah, so let's do that. So I have over here 32 times 21. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. Now I'm going to add a 0 because now I'm working in the tens. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is, and if I add those up, I get 670, right? So in my numerator, I have 670. 2. Oh, sorry, 2, thank you. I have to be very precise, which I was not. Okay, so in my numerator, I have 672, and in my denominator, I have 100. So how many wholes do I have there? That's the same as 6 and 72 hundredths. Can I write that in as a decimal? Yeah. 6 and 72 hundredths. Is that pretty close to 6? Yeah, so I'm fairly confident that that's correct. But now let's see how we can use unit form to hopefully get the same answer. Okay, so we're aiming for 6 and 72 hundredths. Now, let's rewrite these numbers, these different factors, as in using unit form. Okay, so I can say 3.2 is the same as 32 whats? Tenths. Okay, write this in your notebook. I can also say that 21 is the same as how many tenths? 2.1 is the same as how many tenths? 21, thank you. So is this the same as 32 tenths times 21 tenths? Okay. And then, can we do 32 times 21? Yeah, I can do 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. Put a 0 here because I'm working in the tens. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. If I add that up, I get 672. Now, let's talk about the units. If I have 1/10 times 1/10, what do I have? 1/100th. So it's 672 hundredths. And if I want to write that in unit form, I can write 672. And where do I need to put the decimal point so that this rightmost number is in the hundredths? I need to put the decimal point between the 6 and the 7. Did I get the same answer both ways? Yeah. So I know that then that 3 2/10 times 2 1/10 is 6 and 72 hundredths. Okay, let's write this problem at the top of our page. 3.2 times 0.44. Before we do anything, let's estimate. 3.2 is pretty close to what whole number? 3. And 44 hundredths, it's close to 0, but if we multiply anything by 0, it'll be 0. So let's round it up to 1. So 3 times 1 is? So we know this answer should be somewhere between 0 and 3. Not 300, not 3,000s, not 300ths, but somewhere around 3. Okay? This time let's do unit form first. We know that 3.2 is the same as what? 32 what's? Tenths. Good. Okay? And we know that 0.44 is the same as 44 what's? Hundredths. Okay. Now what we can do is we can just multiply 32 times 44. And over here is tenths, and over here is hundredths. Okay, very good. Now, let's do 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. And I put a 0 here because I'm now working in the tens. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. And if I add those up, I get 8 in the ones place, 10, carry the 1, 4. I get 1,408. Yes? So let's figure out the units. We had tenths times hundredths. So what do I get? Thousands. Good. Now if I don't write the units there, would my answer be very different?
Yes.
Yeah. So if I have 1,408 thousandths, I have these numbers, 1408. I want the rightmost place to be in the thousands place. So where do I need to put the decimal point to make that happen? Ashwin? Between the 1 and the 4. So then my answer is 1 and 408 thousandths. Is that pretty close to our estimate? Is that in the right ballpark? Yeah. Okay, now let's see if we can get the same answer using fraction form like we learned yesterday. 3 and 2 tenths is the same as 3 and 2 tenths. Yes? And then 44 hundredths is the same as 44 over 100. Yes? Are we ready to multiply? We first need to convert my mixed number into a what? Improper fraction. 3 and 2 tenths is the same as what over what? Everyone?
32.
32 tenths. Good. Times 44 over 100. So then in my numerator I have 32 times 44. Did we already do that math? What is 32 times 44? Okay. And then in my numerator I have 10 times 100, which is? So is this going to be the same answer?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Do you guys see how the fraction form proves that the unit form works? Okay. Now remember that there's 2 parts to a multiplication equation. On the left, everything before the equal sign is called the what? Factors. Okay. And then on the right, after the equal sign, this is called the, what's it called? Product. Good. Okay. Now, if we look at the factors for this first problem we did, how many digits are after the decimal sign? There's 1, 2. Huh? Do you guys see that? And then in the product, how many digits are after the decimal sign? 2. Okay. Now let's take a look at the second problem we did. On the factor side, how many digits are to the right of the decimal sign? We have 1, 2, 3, don't we?
Yes.
What about in the products? 3. Huh. Okay, what about the last one we did? There's 1, 2 digits to the right of the decimal sign in the factors. And how many are on the products? 2. What patterns do you notice? Talk to your table group. If we're using the shortcut, what 2 numbers can we multiply? 42 times 12. Very good. 2 times 2 is? 2 times 4 is? And then we put a 0 in the ones place because now we're working with the tens. 1 times 2 is? 1 times 4 is? So if I add those together, I get 504. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's take a look at the decimal points. How many digits are there after the decimal point here? 1. And then over here there's 2 for a total of?
3.
So I need to put 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal point. So my answer is?
0.504.
Okay, and how do we say that in word form? Very good.